Are you a film fan who loves the ultimate home video experience? Look no further than The Disconnected. Your host, Ryan Verrill, is your go-to source for the latest and most accurate information on home video releases, exclusive interviews with industry insiders and filmmakers, and has established a thriving community where every film and physical media enthusiast feels welcome. From hidden gems to blockbuster hits, The Disconnected brings you insider knowledge and a welcoming space to share your love of cinema. Watch every Thursday night at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific for the live announcements show and follow The Disconnected on social media to stay updated. Subscribe to The Disconnected on YouTube or on the podcast provider of your choice and dive into a world where every movie night is an adventure.
Hello, this is Aaron West. I am the author of the A24 New Wave. In this book, I look at A24's output and I make the argument that we are in a new wave movement right now. A24 plays a major role. This book has a supplemental podcast where each episode is a brief conversation about an A24 related topic, whether an actor, director, or even a genre. As I continue research for the book and conduct interviews, I expect to record podcast episodes with people involved with the company. You can find the podcast at cinejourneys.com or wherever you find podcasts, and we are proud to be members of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hello, filthy movie lovers. My name is Gentry Austin.
And I'm Casey Scott.
And we're the hosts of the Sin Syndicate, film podcast for something weirdos, anti-criterion bros, and Joseph Sarno aficionados. Join us semi-weekly as we peer into the adults-only theaters and sticky-floored cinemas of the golden age of sexploitation, when the morals were loose, the laws were murky, and the intercourse was all simulated. Find us now on the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
To the Life and Times of Captain Barney Miller podcast. I'm your host, Mike White. Joining me is Lieutenant Colonel Chris Dashew.
Hey, everybody. How's it going? I am here, and I'm excited to talk Barney Miller. It feels like it's been forever since we talked about the man in the 12th Precinct.
We are covering 3 episodes on this podcast tonight. Horse Thief, which aired originally November 20th, 1975. Rain, which aired November 27th, 1975, and Fish, which aired December 4th, 1975. Bing, bang, boom, 3 episodes in a row. The first one, Horse Thief, this is one that I think was talking to you about a while ago. This is the one with the guy who was desecrating the flag in Wojciechowicz's eyes. Of the 3, this one was the strongest for me. I laughed out loud several times while I was watching this one.
I find it funny. There is a character in this show who gets as triggered, essentially, as Wojciechowicz does by expression of free speech. It's pretty funny. I mean, I get where his character is coming from, but it's such a weird thing in a show from 76. And, you hear Barney talking about when they changed it. That's how recent all of this is. And that's so interesting to me as someone, who lives in a contemporary time where, you see people doing things to the flag that maybe you don't agree with. But again, it's federally protected free speech. There are obviously consequences for free speech, as this character in the show obviously learns. But it's interesting to see characters in a TV show grappling with something that is so recent for them in the real world.
Yeah, it's like how you're not supposed to go up and hug and kiss a United States flag.
Or, put it on stuff. Or sell things with the American flag's picture on it. Those things are all no-nos, just so we're all on the same page. But hey, don't tell other people that
I had a friend who is an Eagle Scout. Well, I still have a friend, and he's still an Eagle Scout. I think once you're an Eagle Scout, you're always an Eagle Scout.
It's true. I am an Eagle Scout as well.
He would tell me all about the flag rules and all of these things that go on around the flag. I had no idea all of those things, like the whole thing of, the flag, the U.S. flag has to be the highest flag. If you're going to have a whole group of them, it has to be the highest one of all of them when you're in the United States. The whole thing about if the flag touches the ground, then you're going to have to burn it. And yes, you are supposed to burn a flag once it gets desecrated.
It's true. And you're also supposed to fold a flag a certain way. There are a lot of really antiquated rules. And I understand the rules as someone who lives in this country and understands what the flag means. It is hilarious though, because like you said, so many people don't know. So it's kind of odd to, when you say something like you're saying now, like, oh, I didn't know. Yeah, like, I don't blame you because it was beaten into me as a Boy Scout. Not physically beaten into me, but like that whole thing of like, oh my God, be careful, don't touch the flag, don't let the flag touch the ground. Like that whole thing. Like I remember being an Eagle Scout, like you said, still am an Eagle Scout, but I remember when I was active in Scouts and like everybody got very antsy when people would bring the flags in and take the flags out. It's a little cultish for me, but what do I know?
If you have a flag outside of your house right now and it's dark, shame on you. You better have a spotlight on that flag.
That's why I wave the gay pride flag in front of my house. There are no rules for that.
Day, night.
It could be on the ground. It could be on your head. Nobody cares. Frankly, people would rather hope I didn't show it at all. But they can go fuck themselves. I do like the Wojciechowicz character. It shows some depth of the character that we don't normally get to see. There's parts of the Wojciechowicz character, and I know we both have talked about this a lot with the show, is the Wojciechowicz character is not a problematic character, but he seems to be the character who's, quote, with the times, but at the same time, he's clearly out of time as a character, like this episode. I mean, there's no way he didn't realize that was the case with the American flag, given the fact that he's a former Marine. But it's interesting to see him get a little bit of growth as a character.
Yeah, that was nice.
But then you have a guy stealing a horse.
Played by Liam Dunn, who I mostly know as the priest from Blazing Saddles.
As your spiritual leader, I implore you to pay heed to this good book and what it has to say. Son, you're on your own.
One of our other stories is about this guy, Mr. Franklin, who's played by Jack Dodson, who I believe was Ralph Malph's father on Happy Days, but I mostly know him as Howard from the Andy Griffith Show. He's such a great character actor, and he comes in. He was beaten up in his hotel room, and he refuses to say that anybody was there with him. And it's just to cover his honor because he's a married man and he was beaten up by a prostitute.
A very good-looking, intimidating prostitute.
Who is selling bicentennial buttons for $60 a pop.
So she's selling sex for $60 a pop.
Exactly, which is really cheap, especially compared to today's rates.
I was about to say, that's cheap. $60 for all the way? Good lord. Normally it's like, what is it, $60 for... Oh, I forget the terminology.
Like a handy, maybe, these days.
BJ, maybe, but like protected? Again, the show, obviously, it dates itself a lot of the time just from the look of the show, but yeah, $60? What? I mean, I'm not sitting here saying that I frequent sex workers, but $60 in 2020 does not get you anything. There's no way.
No
way that it does.
Maybe some crack whore off of Craigslist. That's about it.
Whoa. Holy shit. Crack whore. Is that how much I'm worth to you? $60?
We should probably say that we found each other via Craigslist, looking for podcast partner.
Also / crack whores. It is a very Wojciechowicz-centric episode for part of it. Like the main plot, the flag plot is Wojciechowicz-centric. And then I do really like the horse story, because it does have a little twist, a little wrinkle to it that you might not see coming, but it's a sitcom, so they're always trying to subvert your expectations with comedy a little bit, and I like it. And, the character played by Liam Dunn is rather sympathetic as well, so there is that.
Well, and it's interesting. Harris is working mayoral duty for the bicentennial. It's strange that this episode is coming out in November of 75. Sorry, and so we're before the bicentennial, and we're nowhere near July. But obviously, they would be on summer reruns for July. So maybe this would hit right around that time for summer reruns.
It's pretty funny to know that this came out nowhere near the actual the actual bicentennial. It's like, okay.
But they were kind of right. New York was fucking crazy in 76. I mean, New York, Philadelphia, like all the centers of liberty around the bicentennial were just crazy. Just so many parties. I mean, I remember them, they were working on the Statue of Liberty around that time, refacing some of it. It took a lot longer than it should have. There was a lot of stuff going on in 76. So, and you can tell not only are we talking about Harris and the mayor, but the mayor runs out of gas. So again, we're going back to the gas crisis, which was great. And then there's even a reference to a Carl Malden commercial because he was shilling for American Express traveler's checks. Don't leave home without them. So there's even like hey, don't leave home without it. Talk to Carl Malden kind of thing.
What, you don't listen to Carl Malden? I was like, okay, like, man, that's the funny thing about this show. Some of the references would go over my head if I didn't Google them. So, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I consider myself rather well-versed in pop culture, but like, even I have blind spots when it comes to the age of pop culture references. And I was like, okay, I've heard the name Carl Malden before, but I didn't know what it was in connection to traveler's checks. I mean, I remember traveling with my family overseas in the late 90s, early 2000s, and my parents had traveler's checks. That was a thing, it was the safe way to travel with money, right?
It's dangerous to carry cash. Carry American Express traveler's checks. If they're lost or stolen, you can get them back. Your vacation is protected. American Express traveler's checks. Don't leave home without them.
Very, very solid episode, and I did laugh quite a few times. I just had a really good time with this one.
And then the bicentennial shows up again in the next episode, Rain. It's, again, I would say in Rain, it's less of the focus and more of the punchline, a side plot punchline, obviously. It is weird because you have two episodes that, again, for a lot of folks my age, in 2020, like the bicentennial is just a thing that happened that we have no frame of reference for, Well, I mean, like that's, like the bicentennial happened. I may get to see one in my lifetime in 50 years. It'll be the tricentennial, right? Is that a thing?
Yeah, it will be.
It will be regardless of whether or not I'm here.
And if there's a country around by then.
That's true. One can hope there isn't, but hey, you know what? I'm a bit of a nihilist and an anarchist. So it is funny though, because you have a character, who's making jokes about the bicentennial that aren't funny.
Oh, they are so bad. The thing I liked the most about that was when his agent shows up and when the owner of the comedy club show up, because these two guys, Phil Leeds is the guy that plays his agent and Stanley Brock is the guy that plays the owner of the comedy club. And it's almost like at some point they pass the torch, like, cause Phil Leeds was like the character actor for so many years and just would show up in these little comedy parts. He's got this great kind of turtle-like look to him. And then Stanley Brock, who unfortunately passed away, probably right around the time that he did UHF. He was so great and just showed up in so many things and was such a great character actor as well and had this great deadpan look to him. He was in Amazon Women in the Moon.
This used to be me, old before my years, ignored by women, passed over for promotions. But now, all that has changed.
He was a great comic actor, and here he is playing it completely straight because Sidney Miller as Jackie Ace, the bicentennial comic. I guess that's all his shtick at this point. He is so not good.
So Stanley Brock is in Hard to Kill, the Steven Seagal film, which is why I recognize him. I mean, the whole UHF connection is obviously, that's the big one, because he has such a big part in that movie. The Phil Leeds character and the Sidney Miller character, like those three together, Sidney Miller, Phil Leeds, and Stanley Brock, they're so good together that whenever, like, the interplay between the three of them is good. The interplay between Sidney Miller and Phil Leeds is good, but when Stanley Brock shows up, it's even better. And it adds another wrinkle to it because Stanley Brock is just not having any of this at all. We should note, though, because since we're covering this entire show, and I think we'd be remiss without mentioning it, this is the first appearance of the Yamana makes bad coffee gag.
Yes, because he's taking water that's dripping from the ceiling and using that for coffee. Oh.
Makes me fucking sick to my stomach to think about it. Like, that is fucking vile, and with an emphasis on fucking, because it is fucking vile. Like, that is, who knows how high up on the building they are? I mean, I assume, are they on the roof? They must be the top floor?
Maybe? I mean,
it would, if they're not, that's even worse.
Yeah.
Like, this building is essentially shot full of holes and it's just leaking like a sieve. I assume they're on the top floor.
Yeah, with how fast the guy can go up to the roof and come back, I'm guessing they have to be very close to the top, if not the top floor.
But with the amount of smog and the amount of shit on the top of the building in between them, and it's just, like, Yamana's character, I mean, obviously this is a gag that will perpetuate through the rest of the show, but, oh, man, what a way to start the gag. Like, I'm gonna take the rainwater. It's good. All the mold filters out the impurities.
And then Harris saying, this coffee tastes like a roof.
What? And then what does Yamana say? If you want better coffee, get married. He's like, oh, it's great. Never mind. I mean, again, when the show is firing on all cylinders, like it is in this episode, in these 3 episodes, frankly, not to kind of give away the final episode of our thoughts, but when it's firing on all cylinders, it's absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
There's that weird thing of, like, at the beginning, Wojo's in front of the window, and he's just like, can't go play ball today, can't go out in the yard today, because it's raining so hard. And then the depression moves from character to character. Like, each one has, like, a little monologue about how depressed they are. And then finally it, like, gets to Barney, and Barney just goes fucking nuts.
Yeah, it's the first time you really get to see Barney, like, lash out. Because, again, I mean, they make a point in kind of hanging a lantern on it in the episode. They're like, Barney is normally the level-headed character of the precinct, and he loses it. And all the characters are taken aback by it. I don't blame him, to be fair. The situation that they're dealing with in this episode is a nightmare. I really don't think, unless you've had to deal with it, people truly appreciate how destructive water is. Like, we have friends here, and I'm sure you know people where you live, because where you live in Michigan, people have basements like they do here, right? I know people whose basements have flooded, and it's worse than it sounds. It's actually way worse than it sounds. On the street that I live in, one of the rental units, the people who lived in it cracked the toilet. They flooded their entire house, top to bottom. I mean, they had to tear out wall. Yeah, it was insane. I helped my friend who owns the property tear out some of the drywall that was molding within 48 hours of it being soaked. And as funny as this episode is, like, this episode looked like it was a nightmare to film to begin with. And then, like, you see them mopping at the end of the episode, and I'm just like, man, like, I could tell that they didn't even want to be doing that. Like, even they, as actors, don't want to be sitting on a set that's supposed to be leaking. Like, oh, that just looks awful. It just looked miserable.
Well, because they had at least, 3-4 good leaks going on that you could see throughout the entire episode?
Yeah, and then you have, you have the one scene where the water just comes shooting through. And the building is settling, and I'll stake my reputation on it. Who will remember if you do? Which I found that to be hilarious. Like, I'll stake my reputation on it. Well, if we're all dead, doesn't matter. So, I mean, again, it's another episode where the hook of the episode is really good, and it sticks throughout the entire episode, but it doesn't get in the way of telling an interesting story that has to do with the hook. Because some of these episodes have a hook that goes nowhere. It's essentially resolved, or it's not really a pressing issue. But in this episode, the hook stays throughout, and it works as kind of a, omniscient threat to the precinct throughout the episode.
And in the third episode that we're going to talk about, Fish, Obviously, it is focusing right on Fish. Surprisingly, this was not the spin-off pilot. I was thinking like, oh, okay, we're going to get more of this. But I think the spin-off comes in 77 and this is 75. So maybe they were thinking about it already, but because he must have been a very popular character right from the get-go. I mean, we've been talking about him since day one. This one is interesting because not only is it Fish and his home life with a different Bernice, which was very strange.
A much more generically attractive. It's awful recasting because it feels a little shitty to recast the actress, right? I mean, it's like she's the first time she's shown up.
Right. But I guess she's one and done. This is Doris Baylock as Bernice, and I think this is the only time she ever plays Bernice. So I don't know if the other actress was busy or what was going on, but yeah, this Bernice does not work. She doesn't have that same nasally voice. She isn't Bernice. She isn't the one that we expect when we hear about Bernice. And, this woman seems much nicer than the Bernice that we had, but our Bernice will be back.
It's really funny to see a different actress playing Bernice and Abe Vigoda still treating her the same way. It's like, dude, why? Like, it's very odd because she, Florence Stanley is coming back for the TV show.
Mm-hmm. And she'll be back in here on Barney Miller.
Yeah, it's very weird. I mean, I guess if you assume that no one is keeping continuity, if we're not doing what we're doing, which is watching everything at once, I guess it doesn't matter if you catch this as a rerun.
Well, very much like how we have the sudden reappearance of the guy who played a priest a few episodes ago. Steve Landesberg is now being introduced as Arthur Dietrich. And I haven't looked ahead. I haven't, peeked ahead in the textbook to see what's happening in the next chapter. I'm not sure if the next episode will have Dietrich or if he comes back more in the third season, or what happens with him. So I'm very curious how that's going to go.
It's interesting because Dietrich, I haven't looked ahead, I haven't watched ahead, but Dietrich is here to stay for maybe not this season, but he shows up through the end of the show.
No, I know he's a major character, but I just don't know if they were, because, Chano's not going to come back for season 3. So I'm just like, okay, are they already getting vibes that Gregory Sierra is not going to renew his contract? So they're trying to get another guy in, or what is this? So it was interesting that they're like, were they just so impressed with him as the priest a few episodes ago that they're like, hey, we're going to write a character for you?
I don't know either. It is weird for him to come back as a character that is going to have such a presence, because Steve Landesberg has, for as much as he is just a character actor, and I don't want to besmirch anyone who is a character actor, because as far as I'm concerned, character actors are fucking awesome, because of course they are. Without character actors, this business doesn't exist. The fact that Steve Landesberg clearly impressed the producers of the show so much that they brought him back as a main or supporting character, I guess, is wild to me. But at the same time, I love his dry delivery. It's very Stephen Wright. His voice is very Stephen Wright as well. I'm a huge fan of that kind of comedic delivery where it's just very matter-of-fact, dry comedic delivery. I love that. So I'm okay with it. But again, as someone who, like you and I, have been sitting here watching this show serially, so sequentially, it's weird to see him coming back at all. I mean, it was weird to see the female character, her name is escaping me, who played the female cop. It's weird to see her come back too, because
Linda
it's
Lavin.
like, yeah, it's like these characters come back and, I guess I'm more used to modern contemporary storytelling where they make a big deal out of it. And on Barney Miller, it's like, oh, there they are. It's like the joke that we keep going back to. Who the fuck was Mike? They made such a big deal out of him. He's never coming back. And I try not to get invested in characters in this show outside of the main ones, because it's like, are you going to come back? And if you do come back, are you playing the same character or are you playing someone else? Because we've had the actor who played the gay character come back 2 or 3 times now.
Marty,
and he's played the same character. Yeah, every time. But now Steve Landesberg played the priest, and now he's playing Dietrich, and that's who he'll stay through the rest of the show.
He'll be back as Dietrich another 122 times. So he's
yeah, like I was saying, he's in the show. I think I don't know if he's part of the final episode, but the final episode, if the final episode's a 2-parter, then he's part of the final episode. So yeah, or actually the final episode's a 3-parter. It's wild to me that he becomes such a part of the show that he's in the finale of the show.
Yeah, he is fantastic. I was so happy to see him and to have him introduced. I like the bit where he sounds like Gregory Peck, and this whole thing of him shouting at the door, and the whole thing of him saying the same line a few times about who he is, in case you didn't hear it through the door, like, because there are multiple doors going on in this. And by the way, right around this time when this episode dropped, he was celebrating his 39th birthday. He is not 28 years old.
That's one hell of an old-looking 28-year-old,
yes.
My dude. Steve Landsberg, you can't convince anyone that you're 28. Like, even us now, you can't convince us.
I talked earlier when we were talking about the second season that there are times where it feels like they're repeating stuff from the first season. And in this one, I was like, oh shit. Precinct's out of money again. They're thinking about like retiring the older cops. You know, this is very similar to something that we saw in the first season. And then they actually played upon that a little bit and said, yeah, Dietrich's coming over from the 33rd, where all of these other cops have been laid off. So they're not just like, oh, are we going to lose our jobs? It's kind of that with Fish. But then it's also, and we're bringing this character over who otherwise would have been fired from a police job.
So at the end of the episode, explain something to me. Does Fish is okay with restricted duty?
It seems like it.
He's like, I'm worth more than you guys are on restricted duty while you guys are on normal duty.
Yeah, and then it seems like, I don't know if he's going to actually take Dietrich under his wing or not, but I like that Dietrich's like, you have all these accommodations, you're a really valuable cop, I want to be that type of cop. I really like that little speech when he was reading off Fish's record and was like, this is what I want to be. It was like, oh, okay, like he wants to be the cop that isn't going to be let go because he is so valuable to the department.
And that's an interesting way of spinning the episode, like you said. I mean, it's different than the first way we got it, which was like, oh, everybody's going to get fired. It's like, this is the first season of the show. This is not happening now. Maybe season 4 or 5, but not season 1 where, this show, obviously, not just because we're talking about it now in 2020, but this show was a hit. And the show was a mainstay for a very long time. That's because the quality of the fucking episodes. You have episodes like this that talk about something a little, contemporary, and it gives a character's some background and a different angle that you don't get to see. You really haven't gotten to see Fish at home. It's unfortunate that Bernice is replaced by a different actress, but at the same time, it's interesting to see Fish at home because Fish at home with kids is not something we've seen up until this point.
And I was curious about Emily Levine, who plays his daughter. And I looked her up, and she was known much more as a writer than she was as an actress. She acted in a few things. She never comes back as Beverly Fish ever again. She was in a series of shorts that all had the name Kathy in them. Kathy's Last Resort, Kathy's Valentine. I don't think they had anything to do with the cartoon or comic Kathy. But then, yeah, she ended up being a writer. She wrote for, I think it was like the second series of Laugh-In when they brought it back in 1977. And then she wrote all the way up until 1994. And unfortunately, she passed away just last year.
And it's unfortunate that she's not on the show more. We know Fish is going to be a main character on his own show.
I liked her a lot. I thought she was great. I liked the whole thing of her walking around with one shoe. It was kind of like a low blow comedy thing, but it cracked me up every time that she would move around.
Man, that kind of bums me out. I didn't realize she didn't come back. I just kind of assumed that if they're in kind of introducing us to Fish's family, that she would come back.
Families are not safe on Barney Miller.
Boy, they are not. Especially not in this episode.
Elizabeth Miller credit only for Barbara Barry yet again. So maybe she'll come back one more time this season. Oh my gosh, she is just MIA.
Yeah, it's weird to me. The whole Barbara Barry situation, it really sucks. I think that's the only way of putting it, because her chemistry with Hal Linden is so good. Like, you want them on screen together. It's not they don't know how to write women characters, which I don't think is entirely the case with this show. I think it's a missed opportunity to really give Barney Miller's character of Barney Miller some much needed depth and a little bit of kind of warmth, because Barbara Barry's character brings out the warmth in Hal Linden's acting. And the two of their chemistry together is so good. It's like, why don't you give her more to do? Like, you keep showing her at the beginning of every episode. Give the woman something to do. Like, bring her out, give her a chance to be on screen with Hal Linden. Just let it do its thing, because they clearly have a lot of really good chemistry together.
And for as many times as Fish mentions Bernice, Barney barely mentions Liz. Like, she is just not there even in his conversations. You know, it's not like, oh yeah, Liz expects me home tonight or anything like that. It's like Columbo spoke more about his wife than Barney talks about Liz.
Well, if you're not bitching about your significant other, I guess you don't talk about your significant other. That's all fucking Abe Vigoda's character ever does about his wife. It's like, I will say it again, why are you married to her? You clearly can't explain it to any of the characters on the show, so we're clearly lost as to why you're in love with her and married to her, so whatever.
Yeah, maybe someday we'll see the real love that blooms between them.
I doubt it.
I doubt it too.
I doubt we'll see Barbara Barry a whole lot in this show, because the show has clearly shown us we're not going to be seeing her a whole lot. So it's odd. I don't know why she's not in the show more. It's weird that they even introduced her to begin with, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they were just like, oh yeah, and then we'll show his home life and we'll have the struggle that a cop has between home and that. I don't know if they realized how good the bullpen was going to be, and that these guys are just all ace players. You know, maybe they thought that it was going to be a half and half show, but yeah, no, it's not. I mean, it is not necessarily the life of Barney Miller. It's more the times of Barney Miller. It is not anything other than when he is in the squad room.
They were expecting that they were going to have to show Barney Miller's home life. Joke's on you.
So yes, we will be talking about that next month when we are back with the next episode of The Life and Times of Barney Miller. Until then, Chris, where can people keep up with you, sir?
You can find me on Twitter at Christmas Claus, and on the internet at a couple podcasts that I work on. Just on Twitter, that's where you can find most of them. Culturecast, Chronicles from the Crypt, Dreams for Sale, one season show. I didn't forget it this time. Scary Stories We Tell on Seagal. Too many to count, and I'm not going to, so I just listed them instead. What about you, Mike?
Well, you can always find me over at the Projection Booth, which is available at projectionboothpodcast.com. I want to thank John Walker for providing our theme music. I want to thank everybody for listening. Thank you for actually giving us some reviews over on iTunes, and they're nice. They're not talking about how much we dislike the show and how you mispronounce one of the characters' names. Apparently nobody got the joke about Kolchak versus Kolchak.
Oh boy, y'all kill me. Come on. Every time I said Kolchak, or what the fuck was I saying?
Kolchak.
Oh, well, I was also saying Kojak.
Yeah, you were all over the place with that.
Yeah.
Because the show was all over the place with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, folks, but, like, it's funny. It wasn't on purpose. It wasn't serious.
It was on purpose, but
it was on purpose, but it wasn't serious, right? Sorry. Now I'm going to get grilled for that. It's fine.
The audio commentary. It's a dying art form, but here at One Track Mind, I, your wonky yet affable host Ryan Luis Rodriguez, analyze film through the prism of these embryonic forms of podcasting, one audio commentary at a time. Masterpieces, crapster pieces, live action, animation, cult classics, films literally no one has ever heard of. No track is too small, and no track is too big. Join me and my guests from the entertainment world as we keep these features alive every other Tuesday. Hey, who else is going to discuss Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey one week and Citizen Kane the next? Us, that's who. Sure, you have to put up with my voice, but there's a certain give and take in this industry. That's One Track Mind, part of the Someone's Favorite Productions family and available wherever you get your podcasts.